sports fans, Coach Nick here, and I have Larry Coon, the author of the NBA CBA FAQ. And basically he's the expert on what the collective bargaining agreement is all about, that we had all this craziness going on last year about the lockout. So we're here at the Sloan Sports Conference, and Larry, what are your general impressions so far?
You know, I love Sloan. It's not only are there good sessions, but you can get those sessions offline. What's great about Sloan is that it's such a fantastic networking opportunity. I just spent the past hour and a half or so just talking to people, not hitting sessions, but just catching up with people that I know, meeting people, new people coming up and hitting me up with things, people showing me, oh, here's this project I'm working on, and here it is on their iPad and showing me video of this stuff, and it's just fantastic. It's a great opportunity to see what's going on around the league, see what people are working on, trying to get into the league, and seeing people in the media, how they're reacting to it, and getting a chance to talk to people one-on-one that you don't get a chance to talk to on Twitter or just emailing on the internet or various other things. It's fantastic.
Now, are you talking to people who are also in the NBA, general managers and their assistants and all that kind of people too? Yeah,
I'm prowling the halls trying to catch up with a couple of people who I've talked to a lot but haven't actually met, and looking for other friends. But I just spent an hour talking to the analytics guy for one team that is a friend of mine that I haven't talked to in a long time. So the last time I saw him was last year at this conference. So it's great to do that kind of catching up.
Now let's talk a little about what your impression of how the front offices work. Then, is it more important to provide to make money or to win?
I think one comes from the other. If you're a winning team, you're going to be making money unless you're spending insane amounts of money to do it. So the trick is, how do you maximize the two? How do you find the balance between those two variables where you're able to win, but you're not spending the kind of money that you can't spend anymore in the new CBA? The new agreement, we have the progressive luxury tax picking up this year, and I think that teams haven't been doing enough to prepare for it. I think that some teams are going to be trapped this next year, spending a lot of money they hadn't intended to spend, and they're going to be panicking a little bit. I think that the new agreement makes it, and with not only the luxury tax but also revenue sharing and the system changes that make it harder to work. I think that teams really have to be proactive and really have to be figuring out. Here we're getting back into the analytics, the topic of the conference, figuring out how to model a roster that's going to win but be financially feasible as well.
So do you think that the new CBA has been successful? There's a notion that they're trying to eliminate these marginal players making $12 million a year like they were doing before. Is there going to be a success in that notion?
Let's see what happens with Josh Smith this summer. I think this is going to be a perfect case study, because here you have somebody who's saying he wants a max contract, who may be worth it under certain circumstances, but the way he's playing now and what he is now, probably not. And if he goes out and gets it, if Andrew Bynum is another good example. Here's a guy, centers are typically overpaid, overvalued, and here's somebody who was an all-star starter, a legit back-to-the-basket, 7-foot monster of a player who, if he was healthy, there'd be no question about it. But he's not healthy. What's going to happen with his contract coming up in this year? Is some team going to take a risk and throw a full max at him, knowing that it's for guys like that, it's a seller's market, and they're going to have to pony up the money? Or are they going to say, we just can't afford to do this, and are people going to hold back? That's going to be another interesting case.
Are they also? Are we going to envision, just like we now see, mostly shots at the rim and three-pointers with nothing in the middle? Is that how we're going to see the league shake out as far as salaries?
I think so. I think that if you look historically at the bad contracts in the league, a disproportionate number of them were mid-level deals. When it was a full $5 million mid-level contract and they can give 5 years to it, those were the worst contracts, because after 3 years, the players were just not returning value on those contracts. That's been eliminated. They've shortened the mid-level contracts. They've made it so that if you're a taxpayer, being more than $4 million over the tax, you can't give that kind of mid-level anyways. It's less money, fewer years, and I think that that's going to eliminate a lot of that bad stuff. I think that teams are going to get a lot more into the mode of, we can afford a couple of guys with 8-figure salaries, but we have to build a roster around that. Everybody else is going to be complimentary guys at much more reasonable salaries.
Well, Larry, appreciate all the information. People are going to have to watch this a couple times to digest what he said, but lots of great information. So follow him at Larry Coon and follow us at B-Ball Source. And thanks for joining us, because don't forget, at B-Ball Breakdown, it's not a channel, it's a conversation. Are you in?
I'm in.